He was humanity's final survivor, a triple S rank god who took the Demon King down with him, only to wake up 10 years in the past. Trapped in his younger body, the same weak kid who used to be a bully's punching bag. But this time, he didn't just return with his memories. He awakened the gluttony system. While other heroes grind for years, he devours a demon boss in one move and keeps it as his secret weapon. The arrogant student council laughs at him, calling him a so-called genius with a laughable dank score. But when our boy steps forward, he releases a purgatory-level force so brutal it overloads the testing machine and records a potential the system can't even measure. The name is Return of the Devourer, and this is only the start. The year is 2167, and humanity has officially reached its end. The demon race has conquered every inch of the planet. It's total game over, and our boy is the last one left. As a triple S rank lightning assassin, he has spent 7 long years watching demon kings turn the world into their personal playground. One of those massive monsters now floats above him, delivering a classic villain speech while calling humans worthless trash. The Demon King decides it's time to turn our hero into a midday snack to strengthen his army. As red lightning crashes toward him, our boy doesn't freeze in fear. He thinks of his sister, his master, and everyone he lost to these monsters. Even if this is his final moment, he's taking this demon straight to hell with him. He activates the scale terminus art, and in an instant, the Demon King realizes he can't move. Our hero begins to glow like a living neon sign. With one final apology to his family for never being strong enough, he unleashes his last attack. The Demon King is destroyed, spending his final moments utterly offended that a mere human was the one who killed him. As everything fades to black, our boy makes one last wish, to go back in time and fix it all. Suddenly, he wakes up in a hospital bed, his nose smashed and his head pounding. He looks out the window, sees a city that isn't on fire, and realizes he just pulled off the ultimate pro gamer move, returning 10 years into the past. As he processes his jump back to the year 2157, a system window appears, announcing that gluttony integration is complete. This is 3 years before the apocalypse even begins. He remembers the Demon King named Ruff, the one who first opened the gates of hell. If he can delete that first boss, he can save the world. He stares at the game-like interface, confused by the status window when he once relied on nothing but raw strength. In this world, only 1 in 10,000 people ever awaken. And for now, our boy is stuck at university for future heroes. The problem is that in his original life, he was a complete nobody who failed to awaken for 4 whole years. He sat at the very bottom of the food chain, basically living as a human punching bag. He checks his new stats and realizes he's still a lightning assassin. But now he's inherited all the strength and skills from his future self. Before he can test out his new powers, his university roommate walks in. This 4-eyed sidekick was a low-tier awakener who died almost instantly during the original invasion. The roommate is stunned to see our hero looking perfectly fine after the brutal beating he took yesterday. He even comments that our boy seems stronger, earning a small nostalgic smile. Our hero is just happy to see someone alive who isn't trying to eat him. The glasses-wearing roommate reminds him that the rank test is tomorrow. As they walk through the training grounds, our boy realizes he needs to level up fast, but the government and major guilds control all the monster zones. Most students are stuck at low rank, but our hero already knows he's leagues above his roommate. Their walk is suddenly interrupted when a ball smacks the roommate straight in the face. A group of 4 bullies appears, led by a guy who clearly thinks he's the main character of a high school drama. The 4-eyed roommate panics and offers to buy them drinks just for the crime of standing near them. Our hero, however, decides that the victim era is officially over. He tells his roommate he's done nothing wrong, and that the bullies are the ones who should be apologizing. The scene flashes back to a time when our boy was basically a professional doormat for a gang of low-tier thugs with zero creativity. These idiots thought it was peak comedy to shove his face into water and treat him like a literal ragdoll. While the 4-eyed sidekick could only shake in fear and beg them to stop, the lead bully just laughed. He claimed he was being a good Samaritan, saying he was helping our hero awaken his powers through a little aggressive motivation. It was a complete nightmare that ended with our boy knocked out in the dirt, while the bullies walked away once they got bored of their favorite toy. In that moment, our hero realized something important. Pure evil doesn't only exist in demon realms. It lives just fine inside trashy humans too. Back in the present, that same discount villain is still running his mouth. But our hero is officially done watching this rerun. When the bully demands to know what he just said, our boy doesn't even blink. Calmly, he tells the oversized brat that they're not innocent, and that the bullies are the ones who should be apologizing. Apparently, this is the funniest joke the bully has ever heard. He's only relevant because his big brother is the student council president, and he clearly believes nepotism gives him a license to be awful. He winds up a punch, convinced it'll shut things down, but our lightning blocks it like he's brushing away an annoying fly. The crowd completely loses it, because seeing the school's favorite punching bag stand his ground was not on anyone's bingo card today. The bullies start raging, calling our hero a pathetic, unawakened weakling. Meanwhile, our boy is casually checking his system notifications like he's reading a shopping list. He switches to his lightning assassin class, and suddenly the air crackles with enough energy to power an entire city. The budget villain tries to save face by activating a skill called indestructible demon armor, which sounds way cooler than it actually is. In reality, it's basically magic cardboard, about as threatening as calling yourself a tank while wearing a box. He charges in for what he thinks is a finishing blow, but our hero is already 10 moves ahead, moving faster than the eye can follow. With one clean punch to the face, the lightning sends him flying across the training grounds like a trash bag caught in a storm. The four-eyed roommate just stands there, jaw on the floor, wondering if he accidentally wandered into an entirely different manhwa. The bully tries to act tough from his new spot in the dirt, screaming at his lackeys to do something. But the backup squad is too busy trembling. They can feel the raw power pouring off our boy, and none of them want to be next. Our hero grabs the leader by the arm, tells him he's completely pathetic, and slams him again, this time straight through a brick wall. As the rest of the gang scatters like roaches when the lights come on, our hero pauses to review his work. He realizes that even at level 1, his future self stats are more than enough to crush these rank nobodies who peaked in high school. But one small issue starts to bother him. He just destroyed a high-profile bully, yet his experience bar hasn't moved at all, not even a little. He looks down at his hand and summons a blade of pure, shimmering lightning. A thought creeps into his mind. Maybe the only way to level up in this world is by taking lives, not just names. The cold look in his eyes is enough to freeze himself, and the terrified onlookers begin to understand something terrifying. The school's biggest loser might have just become their worst nightmare. Because in this game, real growth might require getting your hands a little bloody. Just as our lightning warrior is about to permanently delete that budget villain from the server, a blonde girl with short hair jumps in to play the hero of justice. She's the vice president of the student council, and she tells him this is a school, not a fight club. She says he's already gone too far and promises the gang won't touch him again. She clearly thinks she's doing him a huge favor, but our boy simply tosses the bully aside like yesterday's trash. He walks away without saying a single word, because he knows people like that only stop when they're genuinely afraid. A polite warning from the student council won't fix rotten personalities. Meanwhile, the rest of the gang hides behind a wall, shaking after seeing how cold and terrifying our hero's expression really was. Back at the dorms, the four-eyed sidekick turns into a full-time hype man. He's yelling at their roommates that the school's favorite punching bag has finally awakened as an insanely strong lightning assassin. He brags about how our boy smashed the head bully into the dirt, but the other two roommates don't believe him. One is a nucleus mage, too busy flexing his own average power, while the other is a computer nerd who thinks the sidekick has completely lost it. The mage is convinced he's the only real combat class in the room, especially since our hero is outside running laps instead of showing off. He thinks he's important just because he might make it into a school club, totally unaware that the weakling he's mocking could end his entire career with a single sneeze. The scene shifts to a demon lair where the real heavy hitters are training. The student council president, who also happens to be the older brother of the bully our boy just crushed, steps out of the zone, covered in monster blood. Waiting for him is his younger brother, wrapped in bandages, crying about how he was humiliated in front of everyone and begging for revenge. The president agrees to take care of it, which just proves the whole family is a complete mess. Later that night, during a fancy steak dinner, the blonde vice president points out that the president has a total grip on the school's talent. She explains that regular students have no real way to catch up because he controls access to all the monster zones, exactly how the elite like to keep things locked down. While rich kids are enjoying overpriced meat, our boy is out in the pouring rain with a 100-kilogram weight strapped to his back. He knows his body has to become pure steel if he wants to handle the overwhelming power he brought back from the future. His mind is fixed on the year 2160, the moment the Demon King, named Ruff, is supposed to trigger the apocalypse and kill his only remaining family member. He's determined to take that monster out before the gates ever open. In the middle of his brutal training, his sister calls him. She's full of energy, excitedly talking about a competition she joined and how the prize money might finally solve their rent problems. Just hearing her voice makes our hero shake with emotion, especially since he watched her die in his original life. He tells her everything is fine, but deep down he swears he'll crawl through the darkest depths imaginable if it means keeping her alive this time. After finishing his midnight marathon, our boy finally heads back to the dorm for a shower and some rest. Even then, one thought won't leave his mind. How is he supposed to level up when the major guilds control every single monster zone? But the moment he closes his eyes, a red system window boots up. He doesn't wake up in his bed the next morning. Instead, he finds himself standing before a massive, terrifying tower that looks like it belongs to another dimension entirely. It seems the gluttony system is finally ready to show him exactly how he's going to get his revenge. He barely has time to wonder if he's sleepwalking through a demon lair when a group of bone beasts rushes in, clearly planning to make him their afternoon meal. Our boy treats these unranked trash mobs like a light warm-up, wiping them out with ease and watching his level jump straight to 2. He quickly realizes this place is basically a private solo raid, where every checkpoint boosts his stats by 5, a total pro-gamer dream setup. When a boss monster tries to ambush him from behind, he doesn't even flinch. He takes it down in a single move, hitting level 3 and scooping up a pile of loot that would make any treasure hunter cry with envy. But this is where things completely break. As he looks down at the boss's remains, he activates the core ability of gluttony. A surge of red lightning devours the monster and compresses it into a card, granting him a permanent frost physique with built-in cold resistance. He realizes he's basically stolen the strength of a demon ruler and made it his own. While everyone else in the world is locked into one class for life, our boy has become a walking cheat code, able to gain endless classes just by consuming his enemies. It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet where every bite gives you superpowers instead of regret. Just as he starts feeling a little too confident, a crushing wave of pressure slams into him like a freight train. At the base of the tower stands a hooded figure wrapped in more bandages than a mummy. And somehow, this figure already knows his name. This is an S-rank boss, and his stats are so overwhelming that they're practically forcing our boy into the ground just by standing there. Even though the gap in power is wider than a canyon, the hooded figure keeps holding back, repeatedly knocking our hero down instead of finishing him off. Then he drops a ridiculous choice in front of him. Stay here and guard this demonic tower like a glorified bouncer, or get completely crushed. Naturally, our hero chooses violence. He studies the monster's movements with surgical precision, noticing a tiny 0.4-second windup before every swing. Using that split-second opening, he dodges the blade and drives his lightning blade straight through the boss's heart. The paralysis effect kicks in, giving him just enough time to activate his lightning speed and dash 10 times faster toward a nearby light. He thinks he's making a grand escape, but as he passes through it, the light disappears into thin air like a cheap magic trick. The monster, apparently a high-ranking warrior from Purgatory, laughs off the attack and informs him that the exit was just a cruel illusion. This isn't even a demon lair, it's something far worse. The hooded figure doesn't seem angry, just impressed, noting that our hero can analyze despair and find a sliver of hope even when completely outmatched. It hits him. He hasn't stumbled into a training ground. He's in a high-security prison. And the warden? Officially a fan. As our boy stares at the monster, a massive realization hits him. He remembers the final battle from his past life and realizes that the Demon King he fought used a switch between different high-rank forms like he was changing outfits for a photo shoot. This fight isn't just about power. It's about adaptability, and the stakes have just gone through the roof. It turns out the Bandage Warrior was one of the Demon King's high-rank forms, which means the power of gluttony has essentially turned our hero's body into a high-security vault for demonic souls. Surprisingly, the Purgatory boss is smart enough to recognize that our hero is the only one capable of handling the tower's power without losing his mind. In a shocking twist, he hands over the literal keys to the kingdom, or more accurately, a triple S rank key to the demonic tower. He explains that he's actually a traitor to the demon cause, since the demon king slaughtered his entire race just to satisfy his own greed. He tells the lightning assassin to devour every demon sealed inside the tower and use their power to climb to the very top of the world. Our boy accepts the offer, instantly skyrocketing to level 10 and gaining dual sword along with a high-tier Star Warrior card. He even vows to carry out the monster's will, a pretty intense promise for someone who hasn't even had his morning coffee yet. He wakes up back in his dorm, wondering if it was all just a fever dream, until he checks his system window and sees his level 10 stats staring back. His wounds are gone, his loot is in his inventory, and he's officially done playing nice. Of course, the moment is immediately ruined by his nucleus mage roommate, who's back to ego tripping. This guy acts like a total diva because he's a mid-tier rank, which he apparently thinks is impressive. He lectures our hero about how huge the gaps between ranks are, claiming he could take on 10 low rankers at once. It's honestly embarrassing to watch someone be proud of being slightly less mediocre than everyone else in the room. The group heads over to the university for the official rank test ceremony, the air thick with nerves and bad cologne. The smug mage roommate keeps running his mouth until the gang of bullies from yesterday makes a surprise guest appearance. The roommate tries to shrink in the background, but as soon as the bullies spot our hero, they don't start a fight. Instead, they literally drop to the ground and bow, shouting that their big brother has arrived. The smug roommate looks like his brain just short-circuited, completely unable to process why the school's favorite punching bag is suddenly being treated like a legendary mob boss. Just as the roommates start to realize their friend might actually be a serious player, a new budget villain enters the scene. This one's a student council officer, the president's personal lapdog, who's a D-rank powerhouse that fancies himself a pro tracker because he claims he can smell malice. He strides right up to our hero and announces that he reeks like a permanent bottom feeder with no business being in the same room as the elites. Our boy just stands there bored out of his mind. After facing down an S-rank purgatory warrior, a petty student council officer with a power complex is hardly intimidating. He's just waiting for the perfect moment to show these amateurs what a real monster looks like. The officer, still trying to play the intimidation game, insists he can smell the permanent bottom feeder aura radiating off our hero. Instead of flinching, the lightning assassin locks eyes with him and deadpans, asking if he's actually a dog, since he seems way too obsessed with sniffing people. The lapdog immediately starts losing it and winds up ready to throw a punch. But before the fight can escalate, the student council president himself steps in, playing the role of the calm, mature leader. He admits that his little brother was in the wrong and tells his lapdog to back off. Still, he shoots our hero a look that clearly says he doesn't see him as any kind of threat. The golden boy thinks our hero is just a lucky commoner who got a few hits in, definitely not someone on his level. The testing ceremony officially begins, with the big shots watching from a high-floor building like kings surveying their domain. The blonde vice president is there alongside the university principal, and while everyone else is focused on the elites, she admits she's genuinely curious to see what our boy can do. The test involves a specially designed demon heart that absorbs an awakener's energy and converts it into visible data. It's a high-tech way of showing everyone just how mediocre they really are compared to the top-tier talent. The first contestant from the dorm is the nucleus mage roommate who was flexing and talking big just yesterday. He had convinced himself he was a powerhouse, but the machine reveals he's still mid-tier at best. His face crumbles as his dream of being a top-tier student goes up in smoke in front of the entire school. The other roommates fare no better, clocking in as bottom-tier talent and essentially cementing their roles as background characters for the rest of the story. The mood finally shifts when the real talents start stepping up. The president's lapdog hits a low-tier deer rank, earning him a modest round of cheers from the crowd. But the true main event is the student council president himself, the heir to a massive fortune and legacy. He decides to hold back just a fraction of his power, saving the real spectacle for graduation. Even while holding back, the president smashes the school record, hitting a high-tier dank with S-rank potential. The crowd goes absolutely insane, and the professors are already whispering about reporting him to the state as a national treasure. It's basically a one-man parade, and the golden boy is soaking up every bit of attention. Just as the hype reaches its peak, the announcer calls the next student to the stage. It's finally our boy's turn to show that a lightning assassin from the future doesn't play by the same rules as these schoolyard elites. The blonde vice president leans in, eager to watch, and even the principal looks shocked that she's paying attention to a nobody. The rest of the school is about to find out that the bottom feeder they've been mocking is about to break their precious machine and shatter their perfect little hierarchy. Our hero steps up to the demon heart, and the air itself feels like it's about to ignite. Just as he's about to start the test, the president's lapdog decides to bark one last time. He warns our boy to at least try to bring a tiny bit of honor to his loser-filled dorm and begs him not to rack up another embarrassing result. He laughs about how a room full of bottom-tier trash is the ultimate joke of the university and claims that even showing up for the graduation assessment would be a disgrace for someone of such pathetic status. The four-eyed sidekick isn't having any of it. He shouts that our hero is about to blow their narrow little minds wide open. He's basically our boy's biggest fan at this point, even if he doesn't fully grasp the sheer scale of the monster he's cheering for. Our boy steps into the testing chamber, facing a giant, pulsating demon heart designed to judge every ounce of his worth. This machine is supposed to be the ultimate authority on power, but the moment it meets his glowing red eyes, it looks like it's ready to file for early retirement. He knows that in this era, the only way to a real future is through a top-tier guild, and the graduation assessment is the only stage that matters. First place gets a direct ticket to the Imperial Guild, the elite club for the top 1% of Awakeners. Outside, the Golden Boy president is scouting for his dream team of deer ranks, fully convinced the graduation trophy is already his. He's acting like he's won the lottery before even buying a ticket. Inside the chamber, our hero decides it's time to make the machine panic. He starts by activating his base level, 10 form, and the machine immediately registers a Heidi rank. The crowd goes silent, stunned, the kind of quiet you could cut with a knife. But our boy is just getting started. He switches to his Infernal Death King class, and the rank jumps to mid-S. Sparks fly everywhere as the machine literally starts to melt, unable to process a level of power it was never designed for. The professors scratch their heads, unsure if the system has glitched or if the apocalypse has started early. Finally, our lightning lord stops playing around and switches to his full purgatory form. A massive, terrifying vortex forms in the sky above, making everyone in the courtyard think the world is ending on the spot. The system screams warnings about a triple S potential far beyond its maximum capacity, and the demon heart literally burns out and dies under the sheer weight of his presence. The professors rush in and find the machine completely fried, but of course, they assume it just broke down from being old and overworked. They can't even begin to grasp that a student just destroyed their most expensive toy. Meanwhile, our hero is quietly laughing. Using his gluttony power, he devours the dead demon heart, unlocking a skill that lets him see everyone's real power levels. Basically X-ray vision for talent. Stepping outside, he scans the school's golden boy and realizes the president is just mid-tier, hiding his true strength to look like a genius. To our hero, the top student is mediocre at best and barely worth a second glance. The lapdog flips out, blaming him for breaking the machine and ruining everyone's afternoon, screaming about responsibility and compensation like it's a personal attack. He's 1 second away from getting a lightning bolt to the face. Then the president does the unexpected. He stops his lackey and invites our hero to join his elite squad for the graduation exam. He claims he wants the highest score in history and thinks he's doing our hero a favor. But really, he just put a shark in his tiny, pathetic pond. The students gape in shock as the lapdog panics, knowing someone's about to get booted. He tries to act like he's welcoming our hero, but the lightning stares at him with zero interest and flicks his hand away like it's nothing more than lint. Our hero tells the golden boy he's not interested, leaving the entire courtyard completely stunned. When the lapdog starts screaming that their team is nobody in the school, our boy just calls him noisy and tells both of them to never bother him again, walking off like an absolute boss. Up on the roof, the blonde vice president and the principal are watching the drama unfold like it's their favorite reality show. The principal is a little disappointed that the two powerhouses aren't teaming up, but the vice president knows this rejection is basically a naked declaration of war. Back on the ground, the golden boy tries to play the humble leader with a fake smile, but inside, he's fuming. Even if the test was only slightly accurate, he can't let anyone threaten his first place throne. He tells his lapdog that whatever lessons he teaches our hero have nothing to do with him. Basically the universal villain code for ambush time. The lapdog is ecstatic when he hears our boy left school early to head home, thinking he's catching him at a weak moment. But our hero is calmly walking through the streets, already planning the ultimate raid. He remembers that in his past life, a top-tier guild was wiped out at a specific demon lair. That's exactly how the Demon King managed to descend and destroy the world. He knows where the first boss is hiding, but he needs a mountain of cash to kick off his counterattack. He stops a monster exchange to sell some loot, only to be treated like trash by the arrogant shop owner, who thinks our hero is just a poor student wasting his time. The owner even tries to pass him off to a pink-haired newbie just to get rid of him. Our boy manages to score 18,000 for low-grade items, enough to cover his rent for now. Then he drops a literal nuclear bomb on the conversation by pulling out his massive S-rank purgatory swords. The arrogant seller laughs, bragging that he's worked there for years and has never even seen an A-rank weapon, let alone anything from a high-tier dungeon. Suddenly, the shop's big boss appears, a green-haired man who nearly has a heart attack when he sees the quality of the blades. He immediately shuts the arrogant seller up and makes it clear. These aren't just fancy junk, they're actual S-rank purgatory weapons. The atmosphere in the shop flips instantly. The manager treats our hero like royalty, inviting him straight to the VIP room for serious business. Our hero smirks, knowing his plan to lure out the big fish is working perfectly. Meanwhile, the arrogant seller is left standing there, looking like a complete idiot as our boy prepares to make more money in one afternoon than the guy will see in a lifetime. Stepping into the VIP room, our lightning lord moves with the kind of confidence that says he already owns the building. The green-haired manager and pink-haired employee practically stumble over themselves trying to make him comfortable. The manager asks how much he wants for the legendary weapons, and our hero coolly asks for a $1 million loan. The manager nearly melts into his expensive chair. He has to explain that an S-rank weapon is worth tens of millions and could trigger a stampede of desperate hunters if it hit the market. He looks at our boy like he's either a runaway prince or a complete lunatic for lowballing himself. But our hero? He's playing the long game and has zero intention of actually parting with his gear. He explains that he just wants to use the sword as collateral for a quick loan, promising to pay it back in 1 month with 10% interest. The manager, sharp as a tack, instantly realizes he's dealing with a prodigy. He correctly guesses that our boy plans to use the prize money from the graduation exam to settle the debt. Instead of acting like a greedy corporate shark, the manager ups the offer, handing our hero $1.5 million in cash on the spot with zero interest. He's basically buying a front-row seat to the kid's future career, proving he's way smarter than the arrogant shopkeeper who tried to kick our boy out earlier. Before leaving, our hero drops one final flex that leaves the room in total silence. He reveals he has a second S-rank sword tucked away, identical to the first. The manager looks like he might pass out, realizing he's standing in front of a literal monster in human form. Meanwhile, the pink-haired employee gets an instant promotion to supervisor just for having the sense to treat our hero with basic respect. The arrogant shopkeeper, on the other hand, is left crying in the corner over his lost commission. Our boy walks out, his bank account officially overflowing, and hops into a taxi headed for the bus terminal. Looking out the window, our hero thinks back to the tragedy of his original timeline. He remembers how his sister had to give up her dreams of art school because they couldn't even afford the lights to stay on. He's determined that she will never have to choose between her passion and a meal again. When the little drama queen finally steps off the bus, she's exactly as loud and energetic as he remembers. She immediately starts roasting him for standing at the entrance instead of the exit and complains that they're broke again after paying this month's rent. She has no idea her brother is now a high-ranking assassin with enough cash to buy the entire apartment complex. Overwhelmed with emotion at seeing her alive, he pulls her into a massive, bone-crushing hug. She finds it weird and asks if he got rejected by a girl or lost his mind. He doesn't care about the teasing. He's just happy she's breathing and healthy. As they head home together, he silently vows to crawl through the deepest pits of hell if it means keeping her safe from the apocalypse he's already seen. But the warm family reunion is about to get a rude interruption. The student council lapdog and his gang of thugs are hiding in a dark alley like persistent roaches, waiting to ambush him on his way home to teach him a lesson about hierarchy. They think they have the upper hand, but they're about to bring a toothpick to a lightning storm. Our boy's sense of malice is sharper than theirs, and he's ready to make them regret every step. The lapdog and his crew are lurking in the shadows, clearly with too much free time and not nearly enough brains. He's absolutely furious that our boy had the nerve to exist and be stronger than him during the test. The plan is simple, beat him so badly that he won't even make it to the graduation exam in 2 weeks. This guy likes to think he's a top-tier assassin because of a fancy title. But in reality, he's just a high-level annoyance waving around a knife he barely knows how to use. He's literally shaking with jealousy while still calling our hero a bottom feeder, which is peak delusion at its finest. Meanwhile, our hero is calmly walking home with his savage little sister, who's busy giving him a full-on lecture about not being so emotional. She assumes he's stressed about the exam and tells him to pull himself together like a real man. She has no idea her big brother is now a walking disaster capable of leveling the entire neighborhood if he wanted to. She even jokes that he's getting old and hitting an early midlife crisis because he's acting sentimental and strangely nice. Our boy just smiles through the roasting. He knows this is her own aggressive way of caring. That's when the thugs spot her and decide that a dark alley with no cameras is the perfect place to make a very bad decision. They think they're being sneaky, but our lightning ace senses their trash intentions from a mile away. Instead of letting his sister witness the cleanup, he pulls the ultimate big brother move and slips his earphones onto her. He tells her to play one specific song on repeat while he handles a small problem. She's confused but shrugs and starts vibing to the music, completely unaware of the chaos about to unfold just a few steps behind her. While his savage little sister is lost in a song about stars and destiny, our boy is busy ending the careers of these discount villains. He's genuinely irritated that they chose today, his first family reunion in 7 years, to try something stupid. His fizz start handing out free dental work as he treats the group like bugs that need to be flattened into the concrete. The music keeps playing in her ears while her brother moves through the shadows, cracking skulls and guarding her like she's the most important thing in the world. He's moving so fast the thugs probably think they're getting hit by a sudden lightning storm. The lapdog finally realizes he's completely outmatched and throws one last desperate attack, shouting that he's the strongest assassin in the school. It goes exactly how you'd expect, an absolute failure. Our hero drops him with 2 clean punches to the face, sending his teeth flying and shattering both his jaw and his confidence. He looms over the broken mess with a cold stare and asks if they missed the part where he told them to never bother him again. Turns out, when a lightning assassin gives a warning, ignoring it is a great way to lose your smile. Our boy is officially done playing around with the schoolyard bullies and just wants to take his sister home for a peaceful dinner. And that's where we'll leave it for today. I had so much fun reading this one, and I hope I did the story justice for you all. If you enjoyed it too, smash that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And if you're new here, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next hidden gem. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.